How long are we going to sit around and complain how bad things are, and how tired we are working like slaves day to day, year after year, to simply survive and somehow take care of our children? How much longer are we going to sit and watch the world around us being destroyed and our economy collapse? What are we going to do when it all collapses? Do we have a plan? Is there a plan? What if no one is coming to save us? We have to save ourselves. If we don't do something now, it may be too late for all of us, and our children will inherit a miserable world of absolute control and lifelong slavery. If you live in a small town that is feeling the effects of economic decay, please watch this short presentation to see how easily you can turn your town into a vibrant place of prosperity and abundance for everyone. My name is Michael Tellinger. Welcome to the One Small Town Can Change the World Plan of Action. Let's get to the implementation plan of action. First thing we need to do is find a mayor, a willing mayor that wants to do this. The mayor becomes the face and the voice of the plan that drives the strategic implementation with regular videos and PR and publicity on the internet, on all the social media platforms, with updates and progress and all the successes of the small town. What size of town is most suitable for this implementation? Anything from 5,000 to 100,000 people. The reason for this is that even if a small percentage of the people in the town participate in the projects, there's still enough people every week to put to work in the projects that we will initiate. The foundation of One Small Town is our own supply of electricity. This is critical because our own supply of electricity becomes the tool of unity. It becomes the foundation for all the businesses and projects we want to launch. We cannot do anything without electricity. And when the power goes down, our community and society goes down. Keep in mind that electricity is one of the cornerstones of control. We have this new leading edge technology available. It's renewable green energy, brand new technology that has never been seen before. And this is exclusive to One Small Towns and One Small Town mayors and people of One Small Towns who want to embrace this simple philosophy. Our generators are ready for manufacture. All we need is a mayor who wants to participate. The best part about it is that no funding is required, because remember, we're using the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation. All we need is a willing mayor and a council to proceed. We sign a power purchase agreement with the mayor, a generator is installed. Once the generator is paid off, it belongs to the community, and the electricity belongs to the people. So who pays for the generator? Firstly, either an investor who will exit after a set of profits are reached. This could be a 3 to 10 year plan, or based on the size of town and the electricity requirements, or a bank loan linked to a power purchase agreement between the municipality and Ubuntu Planet. And the community pays off its own generator in its own time with normal monthly income from electricity rates. And this will truly become electricity for the people, by the people, owned by the community in perpetuity. The community can set its own electricity rates, and most importantly, the income from electricity remains in the community, remains in your town. This provides millions of funds available every month for service delivery and all kinds of community projects. Imagine a town of 10,000 people, an average $100 per month electricity bill. This is $1 million for the community every month. Very few small towns around the world have $1 million to spend every month on service delivery and community projects. Even if no one wants to participate, but the mayor has seen the wisdom in this, the mayor can still install the generator without the notion of the people. Because once the generator is installed, he can use the electricity income for all kinds of infrastructure and community projects. The community will instantly benefit without even realizing it. Various projects can be launched. People realize the benefit and start initiating new projects themselves because of the electricity income belongs to the community. We appoint a project management team that goes out to identify all the industrial potential, like all the empty farms, the factories, the malls, the resorts, anything that could be used for the benefit of the community. Just take a look at this list and set your imagination free as to what could be utilized in your town that can benefit the community and be turned into a vibrant business. Then we go and identify the people potential. The engineers, the teachers, the carpenters, the plumbers, the welders, the farmers, the inventors, the scientists. Our communities are made up of many talented people. Many people that have got skills not being used to benefit the community. People that can't find a job in their specific area of expertise. People that work at McDonald's while they should be creating new materials. We start various projects and businesses with all these talented people in our town, managed by experts, chosen specifically for each project. Remember that these projects are owned by the community and the investor. Then the mayor continues with his weekly PR, and he invites all the best inventors, the healers, the scientists, the engineers, farmers, teachers, IT geeks, anyone who is attracted by what we're doing in our small town. And why can the mayor invite all these people? Because we have all this monthly funding that we need to put to some use, create community projects that will turn into strong businesses that serves our community. How does it work? How do people participate and benefit? Well, we expect people to contribute just 3 hours per week to the community projects. Very important thing is that participation is voluntary. No one is forced to participate, but all those who participate receive benefits from all the projects that we initiate, whether it's food, services, technology, whatever it is we do. Participants become co-owners of all these projects. And when they participate and become co-owners by simply contributing 3 hours per week, they receive 1/3 of the profits from all the projects that get distributed every week. The emphasis here is on all the projects, because when you contribute your 3 hours a week, you're contributing towards the collective benefit of everyone in your community. And this makes thousands of volunteers available every week for many community projects. A town of 10,000 people, if only 10% of the people participate, that gives us 1,000 people every week that are working for 3 hours every week. That gives us 3,000 hours of free labor every week for things that are often neglected. And that means that the town will need many projects to put all these volunteers to work. And suddenly you realize that everything becomes possible. The volunteers do not manage the projects. This is a very important thing to understand. The projects and businesses are run by specifically chosen experts in their field and management teams that will run every project as a business, not volunteers. The volunteers make up the bulk manual labor force that normally costs a lot of money. Big companies that have an equivalent number of employees comparable to our small town will pay millions of dollars every month to pay for this labor, and yet we have this labor available for free every week. What kind of projects do we start? Well, obviously, first and obvious things. Maintenance and repair of our town and all the services that we need, the parks, the roads, the sports facilities, care centers, soup kitchens, theaters, orphanages, recycling, and so many more things that we do to make our town beautiful. We beautify our town and environment to elevate the spirit of the people. We make our town attractive to tourists and all the visitors, because that in itself turns into a very lucrative business potential. We identify short-term to long-term projects, and then we obviously start with the projects that bring us the most immediate turnover, like dairy and bakery and mill, cheese, eggs, wood, fish, and even services, not just and produce, but also services like design and architecture. Keep in mind that there are many talented people in our communities that don't have work, that are sitting on their backside that would love to do something. Products and food and providing services will definitely become part of the community projects. We can look at technology, healthcare, sports, arts, theater, tourism, so many other things. Then we launch projects with specifically chosen experts like new materials, pharmaceutics, and so much more. Remember, we have the talent and the funding and the free labor to do all these things. And suddenly, everything becomes possible. Keep in mind that all our projects will be integrated projects. They will all help support each other. They will share components, ingredients, and services. Because every business has byproducts and offcuts and spin-offs. And recycling is a great example of this. For example, the corn will not just be sold in bulk, but will start food production that will use the corn that we grow. Wheat flour in our bakery, research and publishing in education and training, cotton, hemp, wool and bamboo in textile manufacturing, technology in the IT and electronic manufacture, new materials in engineering and construction, pharmaceutics and healthcare centers, forestry and the building industry, and veterinary services on our farms and general requirements by our people. So how do we turn our projects into profit machines? We calculate what we need as a community, as a town, and we produce at least 3 times as much. And then we sell and export the surplus. And we can do that cheaper than anyone else. How do we do this? Because of our free cooperative labor force. It's not rocket science. We become a powerful united labor force, and we can compete with any large corporation anywhere in the world. How do we distribute the profit share between the investors and the community? We keep it simple. 1/3 of profits goes to the investor, 1/3 goes to the people from the community who contribute their 3 hours per week, and 1/3 goes to the municipality for maintenance, upgrades, and launching new projects. Obviously, these new projects will be launched in consultation with the community. This is what brings us to what I call investor appeal and a future investment rush into small towns that participate in these projects. Because after the first few corner investments have been taken, whether it's the farming or the large pharmaceutics or the engineering or whatever it is, the cornerstone investments in our community that start to bring in very large returns, we will no longer need any more investments. No more investors will be required. So I believe that there will be a rush in the future. Once the conscious investors and millionaires realize that small towns are really attractive and lucrative investment opportunities, there will be a rush by conscious investors to find small towns to invest in. So let's talk about the benefits to the people and the municipality. Very obviously, funding is always available for all imaginable community projects, mainly from our electricity and also from the investors and the profits that we make from the businesses that we set up. Free or cheap goods, produce and services as we produce, manufacture, share and distribute. Dramatically cheaper electricity for all participants in the projects, and eventually free electricity for all the participants once the generators are paid off. No more investors required for future projects, and it's at that point that our community really becomes enriched and starts to generate even more profits from the projects that we initiate at that stage. And this causes a rapid expansion of innovative spirit and consciousness in our community. And suddenly everything becomes possible. 1/3 of the profits of all projects are distributed to the people. What are the benefits to the investors? Well, firstly, no hostile competition, because our community is based on cooperation and collaboration. We're not going to have 10 bakeries all competing against each other. We're going to have one bakery that's funded by one investor that belongs to the entire community. While we might have different satellite bakeries that are baking bread and distributing and selling bread, the bakery is going to be one business that belongs to the entire community. And this will go for all other businesses. So no hostile competition for investors. This is most likely the most lucrative attraction to any investor into a one small town situation, because the whole community is on your side and cooperates for the highest success. You have a united free labor force from participating community members. No investor will get that anywhere else other than a one small town situation. Cheap or free components and ingredients from all the integrated projects, whether it's maize, wheat, wood, milk, eggs, cotton, hemp, or even services. It gives our produce and our services an unmatched competitive price advantage. And this is why we can compete with any large corporation anywhere on earth. And there'll be many other benefits like cheap electricity, clean water, healthcare, and so much more. The investor retains 1/3 of the profits from their project, as opposed to the people of our community who share the profits from all the businesses. The investor retains the profits from their project only, because that's the project they invested in. How do we attract existing farmers and businesses that are already active in our town and community? First of all, no one is threatened, no one is pushed out. Remember that one small town is a fully inclusive and an inviting philosophy. So what we do is we go to the business owner or the farmer and we say, why don't you turn your business into a community project or a community-owned business? And obviously they'll say, yeah, it sounds interesting, but what's in it for me? And this is what's in it for them. Firstly, we pay for their business. We buy their business as a community. So they get enriched from selling their business to us, while they retain 1/3 of the business. Then they carry on managing the business, for which they still get paid a salary. Then they get free or cheap electricity. They get free or cheap components from our integrated project. They get a free labor force, other than the management team that manages the central key activities of that business. The rest of the labor force is free. Free sales and marketing and IT, free distribution and delivery, all the things that normally cost a lot of money to small, medium, or large businesses will be free because of our voluntary participation of the people of our town. And then finally, the farmer or business owner retains 1/3 of the profits. The next thing to realize is that there is no drastic action required from anyone going from here to there. We don't have to give up anything. You don't have to jump ship or stop our way of life to start another. There is no risk because it's all a simple transitional phase. No one has to leave their job. Keep doing what you're doing. All you got to do is contribute 3 hours per week to receive all the benefits from all the projects that we launch. What happens to the fence sitters, the people that sit on the fence that don't want to participate? Well, they're not going to sit on the fence for long once they realize and see their friends start receiving all the benefits, while they still sit on the fence pondering whether they should get involved. This will rapidly lead to an enhanced productivity because people will start spending more than 3 hours per week at a preferred area of activity, and we create much more than 3 times what we need. How do we do that? For example, the food. Growing food is very easy, and farms can grow much more food than our community needs to consume. And technology, or a horse farm, for example. Do you think that 3 hours a week will be enough for a techno geek that wants to spend more and more time in a techno lab and learn things? Of course not. Techno geeks will want to spend as much time as possible, all their free time in the labs and support and learn new skills. And the same goes for the horse farm, for example. Do you think that 3 hours a week is going to be enough for a horsey person to spend with the horses? Of course not. They'll want to sleep there and feed the horses and groom the horses and be with the horses 24/7. People will discover their passions and talents and spend much more time than just 3 hours a week. And then the projects also become skills training centers. And suddenly you will realize that everything in our town has the potential to become a community project or a business that actually benefits the community, whether it's horse breeding, a sculpting studio, art supplies, fishing, recycling, growing herbs, canoeing. Everything can be turned into a project that benefits our community. How much money can a one small town generate? Well, let's look at 100 businesses, and it shouldn't be long before we've actually established 100 new businesses or projects. Any small to medium-sized business should generate at least $100,000 per month on average, and that gives us $10 million per month in a small town. But some businesses will generate much more than that. If we compare our small town to a corporation with an equivalent number of employees, we start seeing a very interesting comparison. You may not be aware that the average corporation with 5,000 employees or more turns over between $1 billion to $6 billion per annum. This is unbelievable. So once we start comparing our town of 10,000 people to a company of 5,000 or 10,000 employees, we realize that the potential of our town is $1 billion per annum or more. And suddenly the sky becomes the limit for our town. Examples of potential income in areas that we don't often think about, like hospital or technology or pharmaceutics. And this can extend into consumables like shampoo, toothpaste, and soap. So, how much money will we make in our health and wellness center with new healing technology, cures for cancer and most other diseases. Well, first of all, how can I say that? Because we know that there are people out there that have cures for cancer and cures for most other diseases. We have seen them, we've experienced them, and we know where to find these people. So, how much money will we generate in our health and wellness center once the word spreads around the world and people start arriving from everywhere to be healed and cured? All depends how many beds we want to put in. Can we manufacture supercomputers? Of course we can. So how many supercomputers can we sell? As many as we can manufacture. What is the ultimate objective of One Small Town? People receive more money from projects than from their full-time job. Remember that most of the stuff in our town is for free, with very low monthly living costs. What is the consequence of this? Slowly but surely, people start to leave their slave jobs. People get more money working for 3 hours per week than working for 10 hours every day like slaves. There is no contest. And suddenly people realize that we don't actually need money. And yet we have more money now than we've ever had before. And people realize that money does nothing because people do everything. We plant the seeds, we grow the food, we build the bridges and develop the technology. We are capable of friendship and caring and love. Money cannot do that. Keep in mind that there are 168 hours in a week. What are you going to do with all the free time? You'll have 165 hours per week left for yourself after you've contributed your 3 hours per week. What are you going to do with all that time? Follow your passion, express yourself, use your special talents and skills to do stuff you've always wanted to do. And suddenly we realize that whatever hobby or small project you initiate has the potential for becoming a community project that benefits everyone in our community, whatever that pastime or hobby may be. And we enter a seamless transition where we move from a money-driven society to a society driven by people, their talents, and their passion for life, where everyone contributes their natural talents or acquired skills for the greater benefit of all in their community. Everything is possible, achievable, fixable, growable, doable, reachable, inventable, creatable, renewable, recyclable, a true utopian world for everyone. And so, in a strange twist of fate, we use the tools that enslave us, like money, corporate structure, greed, and profit, to free us from that slavery, as we build an unshakable new foundation of prosperity in which the tools of enslavement have no more effect. So, what are we waiting for? Who are we waiting for? No one is going to save us, especially in our small towns. We have to save ourselves. There has never been a simpler way to unite the people and create abundance and prosperity for everyone. And there has never been a more lucrative, safe haven investment opportunity for conscious millionaires to participate in creating a true utopian future for themselves and a lasting legacy for their children and all future generations. If you live in a small town, do something. Well, what should you do? First of all, share this video with everyone. Show your mayor. Read the Ubuntu book. Get it on our website. Read the proposal to the mayor and other documents on our website. Tell them to contact us because we are ready to work with you. And if you don't get a positive response from your mayor, do the next obvious thing. Run for mayor. Use the foundation of the One Small Town strategy as your running campaign. So, which will be the first small town to start the domino effect? Why not yours? We believe that one small town can change the world, and one small town will change the world. So let's make the world a better place, together. Until next time, this is Michael Tillinger. Bye for now.